What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Last week, DJ Whoo Kid dug into the vaults and released the Lost Flash Drive featuring a bunch of unreleased G-Unit material. In the press release, there was the notion that this would be like material from all over the place. He said specifically G-Unit Radio, and if you know, G-Unit Radio hasn't been in commission since about, I think the last one was 2007, 2008. You know, they stopped at 25. So I was like, they got unreleased material from that? Let's go. I'm 100% in. And then it came out and you saw Kid on like the majority of the records. You didn't really see anything that stood out. And that's when you realize this is all unreleased material from their 2014 run. Now, I'm not saying this in a bad way. Like, I got my hopes up because I was like, okay, G-Unit Radio stuff, cool, yes. But the stuff that we got from 2014 is just as great, in my opinion. I think... And I share this notion about all unreleased material. I don't like when stuff that can clearly be out there, put out there, you know, finished material, stuff that sounds really good. I don't like when it just like sits in a vault forever. It's just not how music is made. But I mean, I'm not an artist, so I can't really... I have my biased opinion, like, I want to listen to more music, I want to appreciate it, but I understand from, like, a musician's perspective why you don't put certain songs out, why you wouldn't, you know, everything from sample clearances to, you know, not feeling like this is the record that should be on the album, you know, all the different things. But going into the Lost Flash Drive, I was very impressed. I missed the days where you had a group like G-Unit and everybody was hot. Nowadays you have rap collectives, you have a bunch of artists under one big artist, but nobody that's really on that level. Like when 50, Yayo, Banks, and Buck, they were all together, they were all spitting some fire, they were all creating some great albums from, you know, 2003 up to like 2006, 2007. And there was no shortage of great material coming out of G-Unit. So I kind of miss those days. And I think this is kind of a reminder. So getting into the actual material, I gotta say that Tony Yayo is a beast. He's probably the most underrated G-Unit artist ever. I can do a totally separate video about this one day, and I probably will, but I think Thoughts of a Predicate Felon is a classic, and he's really good. I think the thing I like about him is he has his own sound. He's not trying to be lyrical like Banks. He's not real like animated, turned up Southern like Young Buck is, but what he lacks, you know, in that kind of energy, he makes up for it with his street raps. Like on one of the records, he says, it's on Fatality actually, he says, I give rap critics verbal bouquets about AKs. And then in the following song, it's a stick up, he said, he uses like a clever little Michael Jackson metaphor, talking about how I got my baby hanging out the window on some Michael Jackson shit, but my baby's not 3 years old. It's an AR clip. Like, I like that line. It shows Tony Yayo's personality, as well as going into what I just said about him having, like, the street smarts, the, you know, really the gritty, the grimy, those lyrics that, you know, you just know he's from, like, you know, the New York area. And I appreciate Yayo. That's all I can say about him. Free Young Buck freestyle is probably the best I've heard Young Buck in years. I've listened to some of his stuff, but nothing really got me excited until I heard Free Young Buck freestyle. And not to say like the verses that came before it, but Free Young Buck freestyle is probably one of my favorite joints on the last flash drive. To me, I like it because Buck is going over a bunch of Southern classics, you know, from the Sippin' on Some Scissor to Master P and True's I'm Bout It, Bout It. I love that instrumental, and I love when rappers do it because I haven't heard anybody bad over that. I think I've only heard Buck, and then I want to say Currency, and I'm sure there's probably others, but those are the top two that come to mind. And then I like how he kind of emulated Scarface's flow on Never Seen a Man Die on that instrumental. And then he flipped it and used it as homage to all of hip hop's fallen troops, you know, from Big Pun to, you know, the R&B side and Static Major and Left Eye and Proof. Everybody that's, you know, pretty much passed away, he was able to flip it into a clever remembrance for all of them. And I think that was a beautiful thing. The more I listen to Kid on G-Unit songs, the more I feel like he really just fits. He may be from New Orleans, but he has a style that's just like a Banks, a Buck, or even more closer to Yayo. He has that street knowledge that comes with it. Like, he's impressive when he's not spitting lines like, I probably fucked your mother, I'm a motherfucker. Like, that's an actual line he spit on the tape. But he's improved a lot. Like, if you had listened to him in, like, maybe the Squad Up days and on Lil Wayne's Mrs. Officer, you would think he's not as great. And he probably wasn't, you know, too polished back then. But since he signed with G-Unit with 50 Cent, he really did kind of elevate himself. And I paid attention a little bit more. So these songs in particular really showcase Kid as a member of G-Unit. Because I know a lot of people were scratching their heads when we had Kid as a member. Like, what? This doesn't make any sense. We wanted the reunion from, you know, the original members. And then you go and add Kid. But he made it work on those 2 EPs that came out in 2014 and on the Lost Flash Drive. I haven't really talked about Lloyd Banks because I think Banks is like, I don't know, there hasn't been anything really to say about him on this project. And I don't say that in a bad light at all because he's really good. I think he's good to the point that I'm just really angry that his output isn't like it should be or it could be. You know, and again, this is like me as a fan being you know, selfish. I want more Banks because he really is a hard-hitting spitter. And not only that, he has some really good hooks on the project too. Like, I really appreciated his hook on It to Stick Up. That was a really strong record right there. And so I know Banks is gearing up to put out a new project this year, but he pretty much puts out the project and then goes back into hibernation. He doesn't do any interview, he doesn't tour, he doesn't do any guest features. Like, I just wish Banks would want to do more, but I get it. He's done everything that he could possibly do as an artist. If he started being consistent and going hard now, I don't know how far it would take him, but you know, I always go back to like the Kanye tweet from like 2010 when Banks hopped on that one record that was a part of the Good Friday series, and Kanye had said something along the lines of Banks is one of the best lyricists of all time. And it always got me thinking, like, damn, what if Kanye has signed Banks to Good Music? Like, where would he be now? Would he be on that Pusha T level where he's had like that rejuvenation? I don't know, but overall, I have to say the Lost Flash Drive was great. There's probably only 2 things I didn't like. One, I didn't really care for Mad or Nah. That was the one joint where I was like, okay, Whoo Kid could have kept this off. I didn't need it at all. The second one is Wait a Minute remix. It's Fresher, who I guess he's not 50 Cent's new artist, but he's co-signed by 50 Cent. He's coming out of New York, and he sounds like Designer, which sounds like Future. He sounds like every other artist that comes out trying to emulate a Future or Designer or whatever. My head hurts. So 50 Cent hopped on this record, and immediately I just deleted it. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to it once, and then after that I was done because it just didn't fit into the tape. And that's another thing that I didn't really like about the tape is it felt like 50 Cent's presence was lacking. Like, was he cut from these records, or was he just not interested in this G-Unit reunion at all and just allowed everybody else to spit on these records? That's an interesting idea too. Like, I would love to interview Whoo Kid and ask him, like, was 50 involved with these records? How much was he actually, there for the G-Unit reunion? So that's my take on the lost flash drive. So let me know what you think about it. What was your favorite record? Who was really showing out and showing improving on these songs? Let me know in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.